All right, so today we are opening an Edge of Eternities collector booster box. I got one full box here ready to go. I'm actually going to start off a little different, or waiting for a couple more people to come in. Somewhere or another, I've got a extra Edge of Eternities booster pack that I'm going to crack right now. There we go, single pack. You built a EDH deck for every Smash Brothers character back in May. That's that's pretty impressive. How many characters are on the roster right now? All right, we figure out that count. I'm going to crack this Edge of Eternities play booster. This is the standard play booster, not the collector booster. We're just waiting to see if anyone else joins us in here today. Okay, each of these comes with a double-sided token. I'm so glad that they're giving us a double-sided token now um, instead of just one with an advertisement or even a double-sided ad. Some that were too heavily linked, so like Link and Other Link and Kid Link and Toon Link. All right, we also always have one basic land. Hey, we've got a nice foil island there. That's nice. Set that aside, and we'll flip the whole stack over and look at them one at a time. Okay, we got the Self-Craft Mechan. That guy was vital for my deck last night. I was playing red-blue artifact aggro. We got Focused Fire, which I didn't use at all because it wasn't red or blue. Drix Fate Maker. Unarada, I was talking earlier about races in the new set. I forgot to mention the Drix, which I don't know what the heck they even are. They kind of look like maybe they're supposed to be some kind of fantasy or sci-fi dark elf type thing. Not really super on my radar. Rig for War. Would have loved to have gotten that in my stack yesterday. A Zookeeper Mechan. Again, really good one to have gotten yesterday, but I didn't, so there we go. How many times was I short on mana? Alfariel, Dreaming Acolyte, Pulsar Squadron Ace. I've got a null in there. That was key yesterday. I could annul so much stuff because everything's so focused on artifacts. Equal number of lands you control. That would have been ridiculous in my last opponent's deck yesterday. He was playing red-green landfall. And a Pinnacle Star Cage. I'm so on the edge about Pinnacle Star Cage because it's a decent ability, but its last ability down here is just so expensive that it's almost worthless. And second foil, or the foil for this one, is a Slag Hill Scrapper. All right, let's set those aside in a little box. I don't think anyone else is null or null. What are we? A null. Yeah, as in nullify. All right, I don't think that anyone else is joining us right now, at least, so I'm going to go ahead and start cracking this bad boy open. Yeah, I don't think that there are any nulls in Magic proper outside of like the D&D crossover sets. All right, plastic is off. Move the trash can over to where I can drop stuff in. And we have 2, 3, 6, 12 of these collector boosters to go through. All right, I'm going to set the box off to the side so we've got a little bit more room here. First collector booster. We've got 15 cards instead of the 14 in the play boosters. A little bit thicker foil too. Um, I don't know what happened with the Crimson Vow ones, but those ones were slightly translucent. Like you could actually see the front card in those packs. Okay, art card first. Hey, there's Tanuk. I just finished writing a guide for how to play Tanuk as a commander. Okay, first cards we're going to get are going to be a bunch of pretty common foil cards. Good for your general purpose foil playing. Yeah, the lizard guy, the Kavu guy. There's another Kavu, Land Seeker. This guy comes in and makes a lander token so you can get some more landers in play. First spacecraft today. Timeline Caller, Specimen Fighter. There's the other version of Tanuk, the uncommon version. Oh, that is a nice. Is that a Galaxy Foil? That's a Galaxy Foil Planes in the very first pack. You see that foil pattern with the little stars and galaxies and stuff in there. Set that bad boy aside. We've got a foil terminal velocity. All right, that one actually good really well in the Tanuk deck too. There's a nice vernal fern, vernal fen rather, a cosmogoyf. Right, we were talking about elementals earlier. There's a elemental lurgoyf. Lurgoyfs are a type of creature that eat other cards or from other places. So this one is powered up by like the number of cards that I've exiled. A nesting grounds. Oh, that's gorgeous. And finally, a Sunstar Chaplain. Let's set that one aside. All right, we got pack number 2. Is this the one with the Sliver Overlord? I'm gonna be honest, that's the only thing that I'm really looking for in this whole thing is a Sliver Overlord. Because I'm a sliver guy. I love my slivers. What the heck? That's a Hyrexian incubator token. Oh, okay. So this is a commander card because it's got the commander symbol, and that's for if you're playing a incubator deck. I do love slivers. They're just so cute. They're a good deck to learn how to play with too, because they're really pretty simple and straightforward. Okay, we got our Banishing Light, a Fungal Colossus. Look at that giant walking mushroom. No, the Cocoon isn't a commander. The Cocoon is a token that you might use a commander deck that cares about. In fact, the Counterintelligence deck really cares a lot about tokens, and that's probably actually from that one. Dark Endurance, Melded Moxite, Survey Mechan. Now, Strawberry, they're actually kind of nice. I mean, the Sliver Queen, when she was chatting with Karn, Karn talked her into just letting him go and taking all of his stuff. They're very protective of their hive. All right. You're getting down to the brass tacks of this one. That is not a galaxy foil, that's a standard foil island. Still a really nice one. An emissary escort. This guy won me every game that I won yesterday at the pre-release. Because I was able to warp in a space winder and make him into like a 7/4. Sazrel, Genesis Shepherd. That's the backup commander for the other Commander Precon. A Starfield vocalist, but not the anime waifu one that everybody wants. A second nesting ground. Okay. I think I'm good for nesting grounds. And ooh, that is a foil watery grave right there. Look at that. Someone want to do a price check? What is a fiery grave or a watery grave? Ooh, that's a galaxy foil watery grave. I didn't even notice. What is a galaxy foil watery grave going for right off the bat? Let's check real fast. Yeah, watery grave is a shock land. These are like really, really useful lands that see a lot of play. Um, they show up in every deck that can possibly run them because they're just so good. They might hurt you a little bit when you play it if you're playing it early, but if you don't need them right away, then you can avoid that. That's the only one that really does that aside from the OG ones. This is number 381. Scryfall doesn't have a price for it yet. It's not enough indexed, which is pretty impressive. Let's check directly on TCG Player. TCG Player has this print listed at $120. So that's a $120 Shockland right there. That guy, that guy goes into a top loader right away. Okay, and we'll set that one aside for a little bit later, and we'll move on to the next one now. I want to try something because I still don't use OBS a whole lot. All right, a little bit better. Okay, pack number 3. So we have that one card right there. That's the value of about half of the deck, or about half of this box. We get one more of those, then we are at a profit already. Yeah, the you see that, Rata? Gambling is fun and profitable. All right, we've got what is this? I don't recognize this card. The Secluded Starforge, Gold Signature Edition. All right, we've got our Ice Cave Crasher, Orbital Plunge, Divert. The Orbital Plunge doesn't interact with terminal velocity. That's kind of sad. Drix should wait for this camera to focus properly, huh? Okay, can we get this guy to focus? There we go. All right, another Drix Fate Maker. Embrace Oblivion. Dauntless Scrapbot. I had two of these in my pre-release deck, and I never drew a single one. Unravel. That is actually a pretty powerful counterspell. The Atmospheric Greenhouse. One of these factions, the green ones, the bugs, they're all about sort of the um, terraforming planets, making them viable for life. So you see a lot of their stuff is all about that. The dual sun technique, a nice standard foil forest, beautiful forest. Ooh, the entropic battle cruiser. When an opponent discards a card, they lose 3 life. When the spacecraft attack, each opponent discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Okay, so that's a solid include for a creature-based discard deck, like rats. Evendo Brush Razor. When you sacrifice a non-token permanent, exile the top of your library. Oh, sack a land, get 2 red mana. Hey, there's the lobster! Ragos, Deft Gastronaut. I told you there was at least one lobster in here. A Sunken Citadel. Okay, this land enters tapped. 1 mana of the chosen color, 2 mana of the chosen color, only activate lands and okay. That's probably worth a little something. And a Famished Worldsire. Devour Land 3. What does Devour Land do? Uh-oh, we need to look up the rules real fast. Mergam, thank you. Okay, we're looking for Famished World Sire. And meanwhile, moving these over there. Famished World Sire. Devour Land 3, as it enters, sacrifice any number of lands. It gets 3/1/1 counters for each land you sacrificed. Very nice. Okay, let's look at number 4. Oof. I do not know Madman Strawberry. Is that an important episode where they go on vacation, or is that where they go to the beach episode where everybody spends the whole time in uh, bikinis and stuff? All right, there's our first sliver. That's just a sliver token, but it's a beautiful foil one. That'll go in the sliver binder with a colorless robot on the other side. Okay. Yeah, sliver taking a bath. So there's no like actual direct slivers in the set. There's just a um there's an artifact that makes sliver tokens. In fact, it makes this one specific sliver token. And the only other sliver that shows up is a special guest sliver overlord, which is what we're looking for today. Okay, we've got a Squire's Lightblade, a Comet Crawler, a Caveron Turbo Drone, Cloud Sculpt Technician. I told you there were jellyfish. These are the jellyfish guys. Beam Saw Prospector, Servondum the Lucent, Interceptor Mechan, an Edge Rover, whoop, and a Hilderblade. And we get in, and there's a standard foil planes. There's a devastating onslaught. X token, where copies of target artifact or creature you control. They gain haste until next turn. Huh. That's actually potentially really that's super good if you can get the mana for it. Exploration Brood Ship. And 3, you get an extra land each turn. Oh, for 2 you can sacrifice stuff. Sledge class Siege Ship. All these ships here. A Lotus Field. Ooh. This land enters tapped. When this land enters, sacrifice 2 lands. But it taps for 3 mana instead of 1 like most other lands. That's a beauty. That one I'm hanging on to. And finally, a 0-point ballad. That's a potential board wipe that can also bring all of, at least one of your guys back. Okay, so no big oohs and ahs that time. Lotus Field is gorgeous and always welcome, and I haven't had one for a very long time. Okay, pack number 5. Yes, a 0-point ballad, the space opera. What does the flavor say? Let's go back real fast. 0-point ballad. Beyond the supervoid, existence collapses into a singular point. We are all dead. We all live. Zoo Ifit, osteoharmonicist. Is Zoo Ifit the osteoharmonicist? Is he the guy that makes stuff come back as skeletons? Uh-oh, I think I froze my computer. Zoo Ifit. I like when cards reference other cards and they're referenced by other creatures and stuff. Well, the dude's an osteoharmonicist, right? What is what does that mean? What does that sound like he is? I spelled it wrong, that's why I couldn't find him. Yeah, so this osteoharmonicist guy, I'm frozen again. God damn. Anyone can harmonize, but the osteo part, that actually refers to the bones or possibly just to the skeleton. So, osteoharmonicist, there's a link to the card, is somebody who uses bones as instruments. Kind of morbid. You know, use a final column as a xylophone. All right, let's get this next pack going. Oof. All right. All right, there is a drone token. What makes drones? Oh, the station monitor, because the monitor is a lizard. He makes drone tokens. And a lander on. Wow, That's a gorgeous lander. You see how that foil goes on the jellyfish shape and not on the background stuff? I love it when they do stuff like that. All right. Okay, we've got an intrepid tenderfoot. We've got a rig for war. Sorry if I'm not responding to you guys right away, because I'm about a, gosh, 10-second delay between when I do something and when it shows up over there, so I don't see your stuff until a little bit afterwards. Sky Stinger. There's the Light Jammer. Circuit Feeder. Wedge Light Rammer. The Earthos Psionicist. I think the Earthos is the faction for those jellyfish dudes. Cut Propulsion. That's a galaxy foil mountain. I love those galaxy foils. We got Halia guided by light. Mm. Oh gosh, let's pronounce this guy. Eumidian Waste Waker. When this creature attacks, your fang player each discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. You draw a card for each land card. Put it in your graveyard this way, so you can throw away lands and draw cards. You can get your opponents to throw away stuff, and hopefully they get cards too. Well, which one wasn't an angel? Um, Hi, Halia. Well, she doesn't have wings. She's just like a lady with a, I think it's a lady with a big axe that just sort of looks like wings. And the super void in the background. Uh, Cover on Memorial World. Oh, this is one of those station lands, so you can have a land as your spaceship. Enters tapped, tap for one red, station 12. Then two, tap, sack a land, create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact token. And creatures you control get 1/0 and gain haste until end of turn. I don't really see where you'd use that. I mean, I guess if you got something that can make a lot of lands come into play and stuff. Ooh, Galaxy Foil Terrain Generator. That's a nice treatment. I always thought that the old terrain generator was just ugly as heck, so this is gorgeous. That's going to go into a couple of different decks. And Diadrine, Synthesis Amalgam. This was listed as one of the top commanders for the set. Let's see. 0/1 Trample. Hilarious. Enters with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. Okay, so it's going to be at least a 2/3 when it comes into play. Whenever you attack, you may remove a 1/1 counter from each of two creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and make a 2/2 colorless robot. Okay, this is actually really cool because it's going to cost 2 to come in as a 2/3. Um, I'm going to need to find a ruling for this because the amount of mana spent to cast it, I assume that includes the commander tax. So if this thing dies and you have to pay more to cast it later, it should still come in with more counters. All right, pack 6. Ooh, there we go. Swear they make these packs. They glue these packs together so hard to glue stronger than the pack itself. I remember they announced a little while ago that they were going to start putting uh, token cards only into the play boosters because you could play with them, and then these art cards only in the collector boosters because people might want to collect them and they're not really playable. And I don't remember seeing any of those art cards in the play boosters I saw opened yesterday at the pre-release, so they may have already done that. Focus Fire kind of looks like a Star Wars thing with all these guys going after the big round ship with a hole in the middle. Red Tiger Mechan, I was looking for this guy all day yesterday and I never got one. Too late now. Sinister Cryologist. Invasive, not evasive, invasive maneuvers. Oh, that's lovely. Hymn of the Faller. Yeah, a lot of the black ones are this monoist religion that's like all about death and then life on the other side of black holes and stuff. Biomecham Engineer. Look at that bulky bug. That is a muscular bug right there. Starfield Shepherd. There's your angel. That one's an angel. A standard foil island. Still gorgeous. Another Diadrine. This is the regular version of the one that we pulled a little bit earlier here. Surge Conductor. Ooh, that's got a great ability. Oh, come on, one at a time. The Serima. I've got two of those now. A Blink Moth Nexus. There's a good old man land. I think the Ink Moth Nexus got good, or got in here too. And then Evendo, Waking Haven. Another station one. Oh, this is the one that can tap for mana for each creature you control in green. Yeah, that is a potential to get really wild. But I'm a little upset that these ones that are clearly named aren't legendary. I mean, I suppose, if you can crew three of them. Well, it's not quite in the Blind Eternities. It's at the edge of the Blind Eternities. I think that they threw us all for a loop on that one. It's um it's close to the Blind Eternities and somehow closer than Avishkar, which is so close that the Blind Eternities leak in the form of Aether. But they're not. There's no Aether stuff in Edge of Eternities at all. So it's sort of disconnected from the rest of the Magic multiverse. And I'm not sure about that because that sounds a little bit like D&D rather than Magic. I don't know if all the demons in Magic are related to each other, but they do seem to be able to occasionally travel as between planes. After all, Liliana had to chase him down over multiple worlds. So no, I'm not actually sure on that. I'm gonna make a note to look that up later because I'm really interested in. I'm all about the lore. I got my the lore videos that I work on occasionally, and that's if there's something that I didn't know about, then that seems like something I'd want to look into and work on that later. Okay, so making a note of that to look up later to maybe do a video about at some point. All right, thank you for that one. Let's see. Let's take a look at the next one. This is number 7? Oh no, we're halfway through and there's no overlord yet. Oh dear, disappointing. Ah, whew, getting glue stronger than the pack. Is that a clue token? Are there clues in one of these? It's got to be in it's got to be in the green precon, right? That's actually a really nice beast. That's a nice token. It's a 3/3 beast on one side. That's the perfect for beast within, and a clue on the other side. There's so many things that make clues. All right. The Westblade Enhancer, a Pedigree Beckoner, a Focus Fire, a Red Tiger Mechan, a Sinister Cryologist. Okay, let's pause and let this thing focus a little here, because there we go. That's a little bit better. Sinister Cryologist. Good old fashioned Unravel. Another Atmospheric Greenhouse. Dual Sun Technique. Another Invasive Maneuvers. A standard foil mountain. Standard foil, but still gorgeous. Loading zone. What is. Oh, counters on creature, spacecraft, or planet. Twice that many counters. That's pretty solid. I wish it had flash. That would be amazing with warp. Radiant Summit. Solid card. Synthesizer Lab Ship. Being a combat on your turn, up to one other target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature. And then you can get even bigger. Okay. Stirring Wildwood. There's a white-green manland. And a bioengineered future. When it enters, create a lander token. Each creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each land that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Neat. Yeah, actually, the enemy battle lands, but they didn't. I don't think they completed the set. In the counterintelligence precon, I only saw 2 of them, not 3. I don't know if they put the other 3 um, into the other precon, but I think that these are only in precons. Okay, here we go. Ah, okay, let's look at our art card. That's actually gorgeous art. That's Astorelli Reclaimer, and that's beautiful. All right, we are Intrepid Tenderfoot. Let's make sure that we're properly focused. Looks good enough. Another depressurized, a mental modulation, a Kaveron Sky Warden. So Kaveron, I think, is the home planet of the Kav. So that red one earlier was the home of the Kav guys. The Gravblade Heavy, Blade of the Swarm. Manon. Manon. I think I need to go back and listen to the audiobooks in order to figure out how to pronounce this guy's name. Desculpting Blast, Litho Breaking, nice Galaxy Foil Swamp. That's gorgeous. Hard Light Containment. That, boy, I'd love to say that's a reference to my favorite sci-fi show, Red Dwarf, where one of the guys who's a hologram eventually got a hard light drive so that he could actually touch things. Uh, Earthos Research Craft, Nova Hellkite. Oh my gosh. When this creature enters, it deals 1 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and you can warp it. That target, that makes it a little less good than I want for my Gearson Starn deck. All right, we've got a Raging Ravine. This is another manland. And a Biotech Specialist. When it enters, create a land or token. Whenever you sack an artifact, this creature deals 2 damage to target opponent. One of my opponents got one of these yesterday and just wailed on me with it so hard. It was not a satisfying game. It's a fun game, not a satisfying game. I think the guy had like 24 lands in his deck. He's like, oh, it's a landfall deck, so I gotta put all the lands in. Which, yeah, it triggered all those effects, but at the same time, there were lots of turns where he would just draw a land, play a land, nothing else he could do. Okay, we got a robot and a lander. We got a slag drill scrapper, a mechanozoa, a dock worker drone, bombard, another chrome companion, melt strider's resolve, metal strider eulogist. Yep, because eulogy. Rescue skiff, a tractor. That actually makes sense in blue. There's a really nice rainy forest. Another biotech specialist. Okay, that's 2 in a row. A glistening massif. That's a cycling enemy land. A godless shrine. Ooh. We're gonna look that one up real fast because that's another pain land there, another shock land. You know, I think there's like 3 land cycles, but I also think that I think that there's a dedicated slot for lands in these collector boosters because we're getting them every other pack or every pack here. Um, get a price check on this guy. This is number 280. Okay, that one's only $10. Still solid, but only $10. Another Blinkmox Nexus. And oh, there he is. There's my boy. That is a foil Sliver Overlord special guest. Oh my gosh. I didn't actually expect to get one. Let's get another top loader here. That one is, oh wow, the prices have dropped significantly overnight. The non-foil one was $108 last night. The foil one was unlisted. Ba-da-ba-da. Foil on TCG player, $226.34. That guy covers the entire box right there. Oh my gosh. All right. We got ourselves a good box here. I'm happy with this box. We got 3 more packs left too. All right. Need to move this down to a little more visible. There we are. All right. Oof. Yeah, the special guests all have that. I don't know if it's movie poster, the intent, or if it's supposed to be like a an old pulp magazine cover. But either way, it's a really cool treatment. All right, we've got it. What is this? A star breach whale. Give me a second to focus. I got so many blink mocks and excesses now. Okay, we got ourselves a rig for war, a Lux Knight breacher, gene pollinator, a nutrient block, decode transmissions, hymn of the faller. Oh, you guys, your music stuff, you're gonna like this. Does truth lie in the world between stanzas? Oh, does truth lie in the void between stanzas? Biomechan engineer, Starfield shepherd, Earthos scan ship, another standard foil mountain, Singularity Rupture. These were the buy a box promo, so I got a nice promo one already. But these is a solid card. I think it's going to see some play. Long range sensor. That's an interesting one for a red proliferate deck. Terminal velocity. We've gotten a couple of these guys so far. A wandering. What is this? Wandering fumarole. Enters tapped. Add red or blue. 4 mana comes a red blue elemental with switches creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Okay, there's a nice big space elemental for you there. And then oh my god, that's a second foil watery grave here. This is not the galaxy foil one, but still probably worth 10 or 15 bucks. Number 286, 1151 non-foil. Um, $24 foil. Yeah, that's I didn't realize that this stack of top loaders over here, that some of them had cards inside. All right. 2 packs left. There we go. Let's move these over just a little bit so they're better framed. I got another robot. I don't suppose Hen is in here, is he? I know Hen loves robots. Is Hen a he or a she or a they? I don't know. I better ask next time. A robot lander. All right. Got ourselves a thaw bringer, virus beetle, lost in space. Little known fact, this is a reference to the show Lost in Space. Shattered wings, Sammy's curiosity. That's such a neat variant of what is it, fecundity or wild growth. Void Forge Titan. Never heard of that show? They made a movie in the late 90s. I understand it was terrible. It was an old science fiction show about the Space Family Robinson, which is referenced on the card Space Family Goblinson, and how they got like lost somewhere in space and stranded on a distant planet somewhere. Terra Pack Intimidator, a Galaxy Foil Forest. Oh, there's the White Planet, Adagia, Windswept Bastion. This land enters tapped at 1, Station 12. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or enchantment, except it's legendary. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, that has the potential to go absolutely wild in an enchantress deck. Was the dad Will? I've always thought the dad was Will. I've spent the last like 20 years thinking Will was the kid because Robbie the robot was always yelling, "Danger, Will Robinson!" And I think it was always the kid that was getting into trouble, right? Wow, I made that association with no knowledge of who was actually being talked to. All right, there's a Moxite refinery. Oh, shoot, I remembered. I actually remember. I think I've watched only one episode ever. Another 0 point ballad. A nice needle spires. Oh, it turns into a red and white elemental. You can just make out that's got like a four-leg type thing and hind leg. Oh, okay, I see it. It's almost like a unicorn with a mane. And oh my gosh, the waifu Starfield vocalist. I am gonna be honest, I couldn't really care less about this treatment, but that um I know that a lot of other people do, so let's look this one up too. And I'd better get a top loader ready for this because this one is Starfield vocalist. Okay, Starfield vocalist number 359. That's $220 on a TCG player. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, right. I very Very well. I will probably end up selling that and just buying a normal one because that's like a $200 profit. I got a normal one. Didn't I open one earlier? Shoot, that one might be pure profit. All right, Edge of Eternities, the last collector booster. I mean, I don't think that we're going to get any better than these three right here, but let's see what we've got. Well, Magic pricing is a little bit weird, Rada, because a lot of times the prices are higher very early on and then drop significantly, and they don't always recover. So the Overlord, for example, yesterday the guy opened it right there next to me. We looked it up, and it was $108.40 for the non-foil version. Then today, right here, this morning, I looked it up while talking to you guys, and it was down to 65. I don't know if that one's going to creep up, especially because this is an incredibly popular set. There's lots of packs getting opened, so it might just drop and stay down. That's a pretty nice elemental, actually, a red and green one. Is there a big collector market for Cracker Jack stuff? I'm asking because I honestly have no idea. Xena Wormwall Sweeper. Man, maybe I should have held on to all my Cracker Jacks I had as a kid instead of applying all the temporary tattoos. I think that's all they ever came with when I was a kid was like temporary tattoos and stickers once in a while. Plasma bolts, close encounter. Look at this close encounter. Just guy getting punched in the face. That's about as close as you can get and keep your pants on, right? I mean, I guess that you could swing like that with your pants off too, but whatever. Honor. That's a nice little cantrip. Another Kavu. Boy, I tell you what, having two of these guys that cared about tap things at once. No, Cracker Jack is a brand of snack. It's like popcorn with peanuts inside and like a light caramel coating over the entire thing. Um, they're it's pretty good. The whole it's got kind of a pop culture significance because I think that's where the idea of like toys in cereal boxes came from. It wasn't cereal, but you'd get like a box of Cracker Jacks, and it would have a decoder ring or a toy car or something in the box. But when I was a kid, they'd gone down to just like temporary tattoos and stickers, and that was about it. Um, Coat. Okay, we've got a standard foil swamp. I got fooled once by a galaxy foil. Never again. Manon, the right hand. Okay, we're at the top card of your library at any time. This one was another one listed by my boy Joe Parlock as one of the top commanders for the set. Popcorn, no, there was candy coat on the outside. So like you had hot popcorn and hot caramel, and you like mixed them together, and you got like a candy coating. Okay, so Mana on the right hand, cast artifact spells from the top of your library. Solid. Baloth Prime enters tapped with 6 stun counters. Whenever you sack a land, create a 4/4 beast and untap this. Wow, so he's cheap as heck, but you gotta keep on sacking lands and stuff. Okay, that's wild. Another Manon. That's more than I need right there in one pack. But hey, at least this one looks cool. There's another terrain generator. And last card, Beyond the Quiet. 5 mana, exile all creatures and spacecraft. At the end of all things, will you find redemption or rebirth? Which is actually a really good one to go out on, isn't it? Because this is the end of all things, and this is the end uh, of my packs to open. At least for now, I've still got an entire booster box to open later, but that is probably going to be part of my ongoing pack a day challenge for the foreseeable future. Uh-oh. My screen is slightly blocked, but I see something about Ohio. Now I have to stop and read it. 100th anniversary prize for all-star baseball cards. Home was ticked in Cleveland, Ohio. Huh. Okay. Could they be tickets to they could be tickets to the museum? I've been to the Hall of Fame Museum in Cleveland once. Wait, no, that was Football Hall of Fame Museum. Why is it the meme state? Oh gosh, you know what? Ohio is like, I don't know how it turned into a meme. Here's what I do know. I grew up in Ohio and I don't want to go back anymore. Um, I was a teacher for several years. I was a teacher for several years, and I would always, introduce myself and tell my students a little bit about my background, and it included where I was from and stuff, and how growing up in Ohio, I literally grew up in a cornfield. I I pulled up a Google satellite map of it, and it was literally just like a road through a cornfield with a house on the road and surrounded by cornfields. That's where I was. And I can just, come up with dozens of ridiculous stories about stuff happening in Ohio that seems totally unbelievable. For to the point where all my students were asking, "Is Ohio even real? Even real?" Uh, like the story of how Ohio and Michigan are the only two states to ever actually officially declare war on another state. They declared war on each other and fought over a swamp, and both militias got lost in the swamp, and they just, gave up and went home. True story. Um, I think that there's just so much wacky stuff that happens in Ohio. It's got a little bit of like West Virginia. It's got a little bit of Pennsylvania stuff, a little bit Kentucky type stuff. And it just makes for a really weird environment where anything can happen. Um, Vice President J.D. Vance is from Ohio, although he's a little bit more west than where I grew up. And so I'm personally offended by the title of his autobiography, Hillbilly Eulogy, because the area where he was born and raised is not Appalachia, therefore is not hillbilly country, and therefore he should not be using that. That's kind of my thing. I'm a genuine, true born hillbilly. All right. But that's going to be the end for us today. I'm going to save this thing. I got it saving on OBS right now, and I'll throw it up on YouTube a little bit later. So thank you guys for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. And as always, Alola.